Hello everyone, this is Kim with Abundant Life Tarot, and I am unboxing one of my own little decks that I made for myself again. Of course, you're like, what? You made another one? Yes, I did. This one is called the One with the Earth Oracle, and it's a 78 card Oracle deck that, of course, it's like, once I go on these tears, I cannot stop. And I use make playing cards like I did with my other decks. This is my Ancestral Healing 1 and 2. And they all fit in this bag. And then this is where it all kicked off, which was my, I call it my very own Love Oracle, or my Mabolo. And that fits in this one. And then this one, the one with the Earth Oracle, is going to be stored in this one. So I got this shipped. It was like a 2-week process in terms of like once I sent it off to make playing cards to be made and to the time they've sent it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, here are the backs. In true form that I like to stick to is having like a floral or plant based something on the backs. And this is going to let me know this is the One with the Earth Oracle that I'm working with here. Again, it's your lovely standard, whatever they picked automatically pre-filled in the what do you call it, the not standards, the specifications of the deck. It's my favorite shuffling type of deck, is the make playing cards stock. So whatever that is, whatever they're pre-filled, I don't even know what it is. So here's the backs, and so kind of sort of reversible, not really, I guess, if you're really paying attention, but I wouldn't be. And I don't necessarily need to read this in a reversal because, well, you'll see why in a moment. And part of my journey with my decks is I am going to write guidebooks for the meanings, and I have been starting for my very own Love Oracle, which is leading me to realize I want to add maybe some more cards to this deck at some point in the future. But yeah, so that's part of my journey with this, with my decks that I create for my practice, for my reading practice, for readings for myself, for readings for others. Sorry about that. I was interrupted by a knock on my door. Alright, so the first card is Anchored. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of explain some of the cards, and some of the cards I'll just kind of keep going through. But Anchored. And the whole concept behind this deck, by the way, for me and my little journey with it, is moments of a person being one with the earth, or how would they engage with being one with the earth, and what does that look like. And so that's where I'm approaching this. So we have Anchored. And I'm very much into just taking stock photo images and yeah, Ascension as my taste or aesthetic is more modern. Ascension, Autumn, Beach. I love an aerial shot of the beach, like a different perspective of it. Cave. And I like this idea of cave because when the water and the tides are high, this is no longer a sanctuary. This is no longer a safe place to be. So sometimes what may be perceived as safe, like the cave, like we think is a safe, nurturing place, can sometimes not be so safe. Depending on the cards that are around it, you would kind of get a feel for where this would be, or if you did read with reversals, I suppose with it, if I was like, this card came up in a reversal, part of me just, I don't know, you know, I would like to make this available for people who would like to, you know, be able to purchase and make playing cards. I just, because it's stock images, I don't really know how that all works, and I don't really want to mess around with it because, you know, I got other things to focus on. But this is fun. I love doing stuff like this. Churning Seas. I love that so much. There's a little light, little lantern. if you guys have any ideas on how I can make this where it can be, you know, something that people can just get directly from Make playing cards, and they're pretty fast considering. Commune. I love this idea of commune because this now has changed in a way, and there's no people around in here, but there's people who live here. But you know, the way we commune now in a post-pandemic world. So I thought that was interesting for myself. Company. Daredevil. Dawn. Daylight. Death. I love this one. Deliberate steps. Having to take deliberate steps to get to where you're going. And then, of course, the reverse would be, you know, maybe not being so deliberate and being clumsy and, you know, stubbing your toes and not paying attention. And I don't know. You can read that many different ways. Desert. Descend. We have drought. And then I have dry spell. So this is actually something that would be before a drought, where there's like a dry spell. It's not quite the drought, but then we're now like at a place of complete and utter barrenness. Dusty road. Expedition. Fire. Fog. Oh, forest fire, which again is a increasing level of activity from fire to forest fire. You know, it's now consuming everything, this forest fire, versus just us kind of igniting it and being, you know, the one that's taming the fire. Here the fire is ruling the roost, so to speak. The forest fire. Garden. Going home. I was worried about this one because I didn't know if the person was going to be captured in the frame of this one, but I just was like, I'm going to take a chance and hope that you can see it. And yep, you can. You see someone with this little cute little yellow rain jacket at the very edge of the corner here with a little red backpack and this little cottage. And it's like going home. Grounding. Hidden beauty. Hide or hidden. High tide. And I realized this deck is very personal because I grew up in the Bay Area, and oftentimes in the summers before this pandemic thing, I'd like to take my kids to the coast at least once or twice if I could. And, you know, yeah, the Pacific coast. High tide. Illumination. A labyrinth. These are fun. Lake. Land of the trees. I'm going to sit that on the side for a moment. I'm going to discuss something. Lavender fields. Lighthouse. Lightning. New heights. So you have the Ascension card and the New Heights. New Perspective. Light. Peace. Pilgrimage. Railroad tracks. Rose garden. Oh, I love that so much. Sacred ruins. Seawall. And when I think of seawall, again, maybe this is also kind of relative to where I live and where I'm from. But, you know, this is representing something like protection or boundary that needs to happen or needs to be built or maintained. Or maybe, you know, getting past the seawall. You know, it just depends on what the reading is calling for. And then we have set sail. Shelter. Solitude. Spring. I don't know if I had like every season either. I wasn't called to have necessarily every season. This is like ringing of new beginnings, freshness, a new dawn, a new day, a new season. Stillness. Storm clouds. Submerge. I love succulents, so I just have to throw it in there. Succulents. You know, abundance, great fertility, and working with the earth, really. And, you know, what I love about succulents is it quickly rewards you for your efforts when you take care of them. Like, you see the bounty of them grow rather quickly. And sometimes have these beautiful little blossoms on some of them that grow. So, oh, maybe I did do seasons. I at least have summer. Where's summer? Sunset. Now swamp, there's 2 swamp cards. I always like to have like a couple of cards with the same. So swamp from the aerial view. And I don't really actually live near swamps, by the way, but my parents are from the south, and there are some areas that are like kind of like swampy to me. And then you have where you're actually low in the swamp. So I have 2 swamps. We have temple, the beaten path, the land. Now, I had the land of the trees, right? And the land. And so I've gone on a couple of women's retreats, and we usually go up to the coast, where the beautiful redwoods and the oaks, you know, meet. And it's these, you know, it's just this wonderful place of tranquil beauty in Northern California. And so we always call it, we're going back to the land. And I've heard people affectionately call certain places around them the land. So that's different than land of the trees for me. Land of the trees is also a place where it's kind of like the barrier just before you get to the big coast where you see the Pacific Ocean. There's like this beautiful barrier of redwoods that grows, and you know you're getting close. There's certain coastal trees too that grow and that are wind worn, and it's a beautiful, magical place. So I call it the land of the trees. Air is better up there. The path of the ancestors. And I also have the path. Again, I feel like we have our own path, and then we have the path of the ancestors. For better or for worse, you know. Thick of the forest. Again, something very like personal to where I'm from. Tidal wave. And then we have little tide pools, which are fun. Safe for me, kind of, sort of. Still kind of scary. To carry your brother. Together. Tornado. Tree. Love this perspective of the tree. And the bark and the ivy growing up. Tree house. Loving the tree house. This is very nostalgic for me. My dad, when I was little, created a tree house. And because it was in an apartment complex in the middle of the city, and we were renting there, and it was a liability, now that I know that as an adult. It only stayed up for like 2 weeks before, like, I think the landlord came or had people come and tear it down. But while I was up, the neighborhood kids and I loved and cherished it and took care of it. And it was a sanctuary, it was a place of refuge. It was you get a new perspective in that treehouse. You get to look around and look, about and below you and be perched up. I don't know. I like tree houses. Now on my Pinterest, I have like a board devoted specifically to tree houses, because it's such a fun, nostalgic thing for me that it'd be nice to one day build a tree house. When my daughter is growing up super fast and already probably past the point of really appreciating a good tree house. But as an adult, I could see it happening for me. Universe. And I wanted it from the perspective of someone kind of outreaching into the universe, but really the universe is within us, so it's like this whole connection here of oneness. Because really, the universe is inside us as well as around us and out there, and so universe. It's my own personal beliefs bleeding into that card. And then we have valley, and I actually now in my present life live in a valley, so I like that. Village. Vineyards, very much a part of my one with the earth experience. Growing up in California, and we have lots and lots of places that grow grapes. We all tried our hand at some growing of grapes and making wine at one point or another. Good wine, that's for sure. Volcano. Wonder. Waterfall. I like this one. I do this often when I can. Not very much this summer, but that doesn't mean it can't happen, and it won't happen. I think I might make it happen. Go to the beach, go to the coast, and social distance. Because where I go, you're already kind of socially distancing, because it's just that kind of beach. It's not like, good times. It's like you bundling up, like this person is sitting there and looking off in the distance, and the next person isn't sitting right next to you. They're bundling up or maybe walking and moving along, because it's colder up here. Wave watching. I love wave watching. So therapeutic for my soul. And I do have a season. Maybe I did have fall or something. Maybe I don't have fall. I don't know. I felt like I didn't do all the seasons, but here's winter. And I know I saw spring and summer. I can't remember autumn. Did I have an autumn? It's 78 cards. I can't remember. Let's see. Yes, I do. I have all seasons. I did think about that. Yes, so yeah, I like it. Look at the backs. I'm such a geek, you guys. I'm over here making my own decks because I'm like, well, I'll show everybody. I'm gonna give me some new decks, damn it. But by death year, but you know what? This may or may not have happened, whether I was having a death year or not, because I just felt called that something was lacking in my collection that I just wasn't getting in the decks at all that I had and what I could see out there. I just know that I was needing something with keywords that were going to mean something to me. So that's why it was critical for me to make such decks. And I have a lot of modern decks that I work with, so having photos is something that would be a beautiful addition to my tarot readings that I do for clients. And I always incorporate some level of oracle in the reading. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. This is the bag that I'm gonna have it going. It's quite fancy, actually, now that I look at it. It's too fancy for this. Now I need something, now, like, what am I going to get for you? And to, you know, this is almost too fancy. This is one with the earth. It almost calls for like some sort of knapsack kind of style tarot bag. I'm sure I'll find something. I have, I'm sure, a deck too that will go nicely with this one, but I don't know about that. I think it's too fancy. But it'll be a nice protection until I find what I want. I mean, it came in this tug box from Make Playing Cards, but let's see what jumps. Yeah, I'm super excited about. Well, it shuffles nicely. I'm super excited about using this in readings. I mean, use it for readings for myself, you know, initially just to get to know it, and then we'll showcase it. But I do plan on using it sooner than later. I literally just go on a deep dive looking through, what do you call them? Stock images. I already have like ideas of keywords that I keep track of, that I'm like, okay, once I find those images that really speak to those keywords, then I'm gonna go with it, and then I just do it, and then I make it where it's more like photos, where and you can they just kind of blend into the scenery, which, you know, that works for me. That may not work for everyone, but that works for me. I like pilgrimage and submerge. And so even amongst the few people that I have in this deck, I try to make sure I aimed for some diversity. So you can add as much diversity as you want in your own deck creations that you do for yourself. And, you know, I went with Make Playing Cards. There's Printer Studio. There's other ones, I think, but those are the two that I trust. And so far, I've only used Make Playing Cards, and they're so good. They probably, like I said, I should call. They probably get so tickled seeing my little things, my little requests coming through. They're like, oh, here she goes again. She's making another deck. So there you have it, folks. That is my One with the Earth Oracle. And thank you so much for joining me on my little journey as I create my little decks for my practice, my tarot and my oracle reading practice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Take care. Bye.